Just talk about that. Just talk about that.
I briefly mentioned this to you I know you can't talk about the project because, just like Marvel movies, they have interlocking key. Don't reveal the plot. Yes, you're in it, but that's all they can tell you. And I brought up the fact that, you and Amelia are in the same movie, I was just not trying to make a joke. As I was actually saying, it's interesting that actors tend to go in projects like in groups. It's like the good networking. You should apply for this. This is a movie coming up, and then you apply, and you audition, you do a great job, and you get it. Because I noticed your colleague who's beside you in The Walking Dead. So you guys are traveling together because you're in the same. You have the same agent, I think, and so that's it. I just like how that works. So you get to form relationships that last for years and years, and you both are natives of Georgia, so there's that. I don't know. Just an observation I was making. It wasn't really a question.
One of the one of the great things is working with people again and again, and being able to build those relationships, and a lot of times it is about interpersonal relationships and forming almost a partnership with the people that you work with, where it's like, oh, this is actually someone that I really enjoy working with, and they make my job a lot easier, and hopefully I make their job a lot easier as well, and we develop over the years a kind of a shorthand with each other that makes it easier and more efficient and more creative to work together.
And he actually mentioned to us in his interview that he was going to do an audition video in his hotel. And so I'm like, well, I guess I got to follow up because this is going to be a bookend. One end where he says he's doing it with you. He actually name dropped you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I hope I get to talk to you so that I can ask, how did it go? Was he? Did he get the results he wanted? Was it good in one shot?
Well, no, we did it. We did it several times. There was multiple scenes, so and they were pretty wordy scenes. So we ran through them a few times, and my job as a reader is just to make sure that he's in the center of the frame and that I'm not cutting off the top of his head or zoomed in on his mouth the whole time so that they can see enough of his body to get his body language in the scene. And I just read the lines and try to give him beats to play off of.
Yeah, I mean, I actually I do videography as well, so I'm familiar with the fear of not getting a shot. I did an interview with Seth Gilliam from Walking Dead, and I forgot to shoot the video for it. I didn't hit the record button because I was so nervous to meet him.
Yeah.
So now I have a friend doing the recording, so I would definitely have forgotten to record with you in the pairing.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I am very famous and very intimidating.
Actually, I didn't. A lot of this didn't come out in the panel I attended, but I'm a huge fan of. Of course, I'm forgetting the name. Help me out here because I'm nervous.
Of Halt and Catch Fire.
Yes, thank you. I love everything about it. I love the solid
You don't
writing.
love the name.
Yes, I'm terrible.
You love everything
names.
but the name.
The name sucks. No, it's a virus. I understand the reference. I read about the stuff. Like I went deep into Wiki on this series because I really love the series because I've lived through this, and it was such a great amalgam of different computing revolutions sort of roll into the show, and there's different archetypes in there. Like, that's the Steve Jobs type, and that's the, oh, look, they go to a hotel room and there's the computer.
Hello, I am Macintosh.
It's just magic.
That's such a great moment in the series. It's almost like a defining moment.
Yeah.
Because they have this thing that they've been building that they're very proud of, right? And that it's going to be the computer of the future. And then at the last minute they go, never mind, let's just sell out because these people will buy it if we just make it a work machine.
Yeah.
And that's what they end up doing. And so they end up making, they compromise their dream to make this product that's going to sell. And then they walk into a room and they find what their dream would have been.
Yeah.
And they're looking at it and they're like, wow.
That could have been them.
They're like, wow, that's exactly what we wanted to do. They made our dream and we gave up on our dream to cash in. And it's such a great moment. And the Joe McMillan character is so great because he is a little bit Steve Jobs. Oh God, who's the antivirus guy? The crazy antivirus guy? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Well, this actor?
No. It's an actual guy in software that he made. McAfee, John McAfee.
Yeah, the principal architect. Yeah.
John McAfee and Joe McMillan are, there's a little bit of Joe McAfee and Joe McMillan, where he's a little bit off kilter, he's a little bit crazy, and then also he has the antivirus in I think season 4, right?
Yeah.
Or no, season 3. He's got the antivirus that he steals from Gordon. So yeah, that's.
That show is amazing because I used to think that guy was a bit of a self-serving scumbag.
Oh, Joe.
The bad guy, the so-called bad guy in the show,
Yeah.
and then the show has pulled me along into actually empathizing with him, thinking he's a great guy, and that's amazing writing to take somebody who is despicable and turn him into one of your favorite characters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a revolution in writing.
Yeah. Maybe don't stop listening. Cover your ears because I'm going to spoil the end of the series. But if to see that he becomes a teacher,
Oh my God.
that's like his final beat in the show is that he's teaching, and it's like, oh, it's probably the thing that he should have done the whole time. He let kind of his ambition get in the way of what he was actually good at, which was inspiring people.
Yeah.
And to have his character come full circle and to just be an inspirational person, I thought was a really great arc for that character.
Well,
Okay, you can start listening again, guys. Spoilers are done.
you were speaking of heart. I mean, that's what you are to me on Stranger Things. You are the sort of one of the hearts in the show because you have, like I mentioned briefly in the panel that yes, you're an inspiration for teaching science, but like you're more importantly, you're just a good listener, and you're a good person. You show genuine interest and care in the children when they're missing, or child when is missing. You answer all the questions without fail, and you you don't talk down to them, and you do all these wonderful, gracious things that people wish teachers would be. And my favorite teachers were like your character.
Yeah.
They engage with you, and they're wonderful teachers, and they change your life because of that. And you're a life-changing character as a role model to other teachers, how they might interact with young people if they'd ever listen. But
yeah, and it's hard to play a character that cares that much about other people. No, I'm kidding. It's fun. It's fun to play, and there are things that I found in there that like just are extensions of myself, like the not really projecting onto the other people, but like taking my feelings for the people that I care about in my life and sort of transposing them onto the characters in the show and treating them the way I want the people that I love in my life to be treated. Yeah.
I mean, they made you. I think you're a cool teacher in the show, and they made you cool because
I think I'm a cool guy in the show. A lot of
Period.
people call my character nerdy, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, this dude is so cool.
Well, there's scene.
He's not like Joe cool. He's not like sunglasses and motorcycle riding, but he's a pretty cool guy.
He's not James Dean, but there's a specific scene I recall watching where I can't remember the detail exactly, but they go to your house, and first of all, you're in an interracial relationship with an Asian woman, and you're watching The Thing, and they just make you the coolest guy in the 80s. Like you're cool before, like you're ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
You're watching like cool sci-fi, you're not prejudiced. You listen to children. You're a teacher. Like you hit every box of like, human male perfection as seen when looking back. Like,
Sure.
I wish people weren't pricks in the 80s.
Right.
You're the anti.
Yeah, Mr. Clarke's definitely ahead of his time
You're very cool
in a lot of ways, but I also don't think that race is something that comes into play when Mr. Clarke decides who he's gonna.
Well, a lot of fans
be
discuss
in a
that in the show
relationship with,
because. Like, hey, where's the black people in town?
Yeah.
Like, there's been some criticism about the show, and I don't know. He's trying to remind people, like, it is the '80s. They don't want to be too, they're making nods to things.
Yeah, it has to be a little white bread because of when and where it is. Small town Midwest in the '80s. Although we've done a good job, I think, as we grow to become a little more inclusive. And I think that's a very important thing to have in entertainment now is to make sure that everyone feels represented, and so it's something that oh boy,
Well, that was professional. Brain blown.
yeah. So the guy who played the first Jason Voorhees is at a different table across from us, and he's
Postmates.
and he's blowing a horn and ruining our interview.
No, this is actually making it the best thing I've ever done.
So if you ever get a chance to go watch the first Friday the 13th movie, he's the guy who jumped out of the lake and like kills the girl at the end. And he's also, as you can probably hear, a very talented musician.
Listen, before I let you go, you said something in the panel that blew me away because I got my friend into Counterpart. I'm like, God, this is a great series.
Oh, it's a great show.
I seek out.
It's a great show.
I love Fringe.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do want to go back to representation for a moment.
Sorry. Yeah,
and so, like the important thing about it is like if you watch something like Black Panther, with a diverse audience, it's interesting. It was interesting to me because I could feel the like relief and wonder in the hearts of like these people all sitting all around me.
Yeah.
Because they were being represented in a heroic way on screen, and it's not something that they get to see every day. And as a white male in this world, it's very easy to see yourself represented every day of your life in every media. And so for people that don't get that, I think it's very important now that they do get that, and I'm glad that the box office results on some of these things, and even Wonder Woman, like you don't see a lot of female superheroes that are fronting their own films, and I felt the same way when I was watching Wonder Woman. I was like, thank God that girls who are growing up right now have
aspirational.
That they get to see themselves presented in this heroic light, where it's like you can be whoever you want to be. If you want to be a warrior, you can be a warrior. If you want to be a hero, you can be a hero. Like girls and boys can be heroes together.
Well, I saw a movie recently called Indian Horse about a native Canadian boy that grows up in the residential school system here, which is a plight, and he ends up becoming like a star hockey player, and then things don't go. I don't want to spoil the movie too much, but things don't go quite his way, and because he's dealing with the trauma of what happened to him in that system. So seeing other stories told that are representative of other communities is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. For ourselves
relief,
as well,
really,
right? Yeah, where we can see things from somebody else's perspective, which I think is very important for entertainment and to have like filmmakers from diverse backgrounds making films, to have actors from diverse backgrounds making films as well. That's so important, so that we, the guys who have always seen things from our perspective, get to see things from other people's perspective and get to get outside of our own heads for a while and go like, oh, this is what life is like for somebody else. I think little by little it makes the world a better place, and I think it's super important.
Cinema is to, I guess, certain auteurs, a director are I'm messing up the term.
Auteurs, yeah.
Yes, they strive to challenge the audience somewhat. They don't want to just make pabble for them. They want to think, maybe change a long-held belief, or just think critically about things and just accept them the way they are. But I was starting to get into something that was nerdy and to sort of wrap it up because I don't want to leave in something super heavy.
Great, let's do that.
But Counterpart.
Yeah.
You just randomly mentioned that show, and I was like clapping like a little kid because I love the show.
Yeah.
I love all shows that have to do with alternate realities. I love Men in High Castle, Counterpart, Fringe. I love like crazy because of that. I'm just so fascinated with the idea of alternate realities or alternate histories, and it's just nice, it's simpatico-wise to see that it's something somebody I admire really digs the same shows that I dig, and I'm not just by myself in the corner.
It's interesting too because there is a grain from Stranger Things and Counterpart as well. Mr. Clarke, and ties in with Mr. Clarke as well, because Mr. Clarke talks about Hugh Everett's Many Worlds interpretation, and that's what Counterpart is about. That the rift in Counterpart creates two dimensions, one of which is slightly different. A child has just been murdered, which is very sad. But we move on with our interview because we have to, because this is our job. So you get to see what Mr. Clarke's talking about when he starts explaining the Many Worlds interpretation, where there's a universe where this never happens. Yeah. And in Counterpart you get to see, wow, these two men that both played by J.K. Simmons are totally and completely different people, but they are the same person, and you get to see sort of like their journey, like, and what the subtle differences in their lives that created the men that they become. And it's really a fascinating and wonderful show.
The death of his daughter in one universe made him a much better person. You'd think that the life of his daughter would have the same effect, but it doesn't, and that's
Right.
what makes you think. Like, I've been pondering that now for weeks. Like, how is it he's a bad person when he has a daughter he loves
Right.
that lived?
Yeah.
I don't understand how negativity makes
Yeah.
you good. It's
Right.
such an that's so powerful about the show. It's
Yeah.
very emotional. It's
Yeah.
not just sci-fi.
No, not at all.
gook. It's it makes you think about your own life. Like,
Yep.
wow,
Yeah, the scenes that they have together
yeah.
are some of the best scenes in the show.
I love it when he he's on his side. No, he's coming with me. He's my pal.
Yeah.
Don't touch my buddy. Like, he's me. Leave me.
Yeah.
Listen, before I let you go, do you want to? I mean, and it's in terms of maybe plugging projects or what you have on the radar. Now I know about Godzilla King of the Monsters, which I think is slated for 2019.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to maybe get out there about things you might be involved in, or?
I have a small part in an indie film called Boy Erased, which is about it was a thing that was a thing in the States for a long time. It's not so much of a thing anymore, but there are still people that believe in it. It's a gay conversion program.
Oh yeah. The Mike
which
Pence thing.
Yeah, it's something that Mike Pence believes in, is that if you're homosexual, that you can go through this process to become heterosexual. And so I think it's a pretty important film because it shows the impact that type of program has on young kids and like teenagers, where it can really screw them up. Because they have people telling them that what they are is wrong, and I think that's very wrong. That what you are, if you're not hurting someone, that what you are is what you are, and that you should be proud and glad to be what you are, and to not feel ashamed of loving someone just because that it's not the way that traditionally society views love. So
Not
it's a
even
very
society, just
a specific
flat out bigotry.
yes, yeah, a specific segment of the super religious. I don't want to say like all, but
Yeah.
they're definitely the segment of the super religious that feel like what books that were written
Well, there are
2,000 years ago should document like how we feel about things today, and that's not necessarily always the case. I think that we can see when something is wrong and is not hurting anyone, and when we can see that something is hurting someone. Like, these programs are actually hurting people, and being homosexual isn't hurting anyone. So so that's a pretty important film that I have a small part in. It's called Boy Erased, and it's should be coming out here shortly. Also doing a wacky comedy about adoption called Instant Family from the creators of Daddy's Home and Daddy's Home 2, so that's going to be a really fun one. And just finished a film with Jason Reitman and Hugh Jackman called Front Runner, which is a political drama based on a true story about an American Democratic candidate for president in 1987, and sort of the controversies around his run for the presidency and for the primaries.
All right,
So
I'm
it's gonna
definitely
be a
look that up
really fun
myself.
one. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
Okay, well, listen.
Cool. Thank you so much,
Thank you
man. Really
for,
nice to meet you.
I'm glad we got a chance.
Thank you for watching the Convention Junkies coverage of the 2018 Cornwall and Area Pop event. Please like, comment and subscribe to see more. If you would like to help us with future projects, please visit our Patreon page.